following show features stupid opinions and ideas from two idiot brothers who probably did little research and practiced zero due diligence on the topic at hand. The MLO Bros' opinions do not reflect the views of their employer, guests, sponsors, families, neighbors, or pets. If you do not like what they are saying and don't agree with their views or opinions, don't watch the show. We can promise we do not care. Welcome to the worst show on the internet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MLO Bros. I am joined here with Justin from 330 Sports Show.
Isaac, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Good, buddy. Good. So, if you are in the comments, please let us know. Let us know if the mics are working correctly tonight. I was having some issues with the TV, but I think they sound good. So, give us a thumbs up in the comment section, or you're good in the comment section to help me out. While you guys are doing that, down below, check out our sponsors of the month. Number one is Valley Insurance Group, for all your home and auto needs for insurance. Give them a call, as well as BC Heating and Plumbing. They'll take care of you for all your heating and plumbing needs. So, can you guys hear us? I need a comment. Help me out. Also, give us a like down below. That'll help us get more people in here, more interest. Let me double check while we wait for them. Make sure. I'm just worried because I couldn't sound check through the TV.
Okay. I'm curious how many White Lotus fans we got out there too.
All right, we're good. Yeah, so that's the other thing is how many people that follow us on Facebook are also into White Lotus? That's the question. But
there you go.
Sweet. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, brother. So I guess before we start breaking down season 2 of White Lotus, let's give a spoiler warning, right?
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched it, go watch season 1 and 2 and then come back and watch this, because we are going to go through all the different characters. We're going to go through all the different plot points, and there are going to be major spoilers, because we're going to talk about the ending and where they leave it. So there's your warning. So where do you want to start, Justin? I don't even know.
The way this show unfolds, there's so many characters that kind of interweave with each other, literally and physically. But so I think maybe we just kind of start with a character, and wherever that leads, maybe it leads into plot points, maybe it leads into another character, and
So for those that don't want to watch the show and are just listening to us talk, White Lotus, it is basically it takes place. The setting for each season is a resort.
Yes.
The first season was a resort in, I think it was
Caribbean.
Hawaii.
Yep.
That's right. And then season 2 takes place in Italy. It's in Sicily, right?
Yes.
So it is basically, the show is all these different people at the resort interacting with the employees as well as the locals at that resort and in that setting. So you get to see some very rich people interacting with the locals, interacting with the employees, and just kind of these people's lives. It kind of feels like Game of Thrones. Have you watched Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah, my favorite show on TV.
Like all the different characters, follow a separate plot. It's similar to Game of Thrones, where there's all these different characters that are spanned out, but they're all just on this resort doing different gross things.
Right? Yeah, that's kind of a good way to put it. Yeah. I would almost put this as there's a whole lot of white people in this show.
Yes.
So there is a very underlying overarching theme, whatever you want to say, of white privilege in this show,
and like first world problems shit.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
But the typical average normal person, Isaac, Justin, anyone watching can relate to, and almost put you on edge like the entire show.
In the second season 2, it revolves a lot around and even with the intro, revolves around a lot about sex and love and relationships and how it can make or break relationships, as well as tear people apart, drive people crazy. All that's what the whole second season was about. The other thing too, that it's very stressful.
Yeah, it really
like
is.
the way the music is set up, the way like just the transitions and the cuts, it's very like it's just stress inducing. Like I'm at the edge of my seat the entire time because it's just like you don't know what's going to happen. You want to find out what's going to happen, and there are times where people make decisions and you want to pull your hair out.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So
this is a show I would highly recommend not watching with your parents or someone like that either. With like a spouse, a significant other, a group of friends. Sure, that's fine, but maybe don't want to have mom or dad next to you on the couch.
Absolutely not.
There's a little too much dick in this show.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's the only complaint I have about this show is maybe a couple Johnsons they could have left out of this season.
It's all right. It is what it is. Oh my goodness. Well, let's go through some characters.
Hopefully we didn't lose too many people on that comment.
Right. Oh gosh, what are they talking about tonight? No. Okay, so let's go through some characters.
Yeah, who do you want to start with?
We can start with, so we'll kind of introduce. Do you want to introduce them or just go with different storylines, I guess? I don't know.
I say let's go pick one and let's go with that storyline and we'll see how it goes.
So everybody's favorite couples that are these are two groups of couples. So from left to right, you got Daphne, Cameron, they're a couple, they're married, and then Aubrey Plaza as Harper, and then what was his name? What was the husband's name? Ethan. Yeah. So those two couples came to the island came to Italy together on vacation together to get to know each other more. It was Ethan.
Put him back up there real quick.
Whoops, wrong one. So Ethan on the far right, basically, Ethan and Cameron went to college together, and
had to be out west too.
Yes. And Cameron was always the one who had the better job, was wealthy, was always getting the girls, and Ethan was more of like the tech nerd.
Yeah.
And then just recently, Ethan came into a lot of wealth, has this company that took off, and he took these two, him and his wife took this couple on vacation with them as well. So I think he paid for it, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
So.
And he came into a lot of money.
Yes.
Somehow. Sold his company or something like that.
So it's interesting. Those couples together, you have Ethan and Harper, and they I feel like Harper was kind of like a more, I don't even know how to explain it. She was like from the first episode was kind of like putting the other couple down. Like they think they're better than us.
Yeah.
They don't have any,
she's the person that talks shit about everyone else behind their back and then goes there and is kind of like a wet blanket a little bit sometimes. Yeah. Like, I mean, she loosens up as the show goes on, obviously, but she's a little bit of a wet blanket.
Like the type of person who goes to the party and is like complaining about you not caring about the environment and not caring about, we're at this wealthy resort and we shouldn't be here. We should be helping people. Like that type of mentality where it's like, just have fun.
Yeah.
And you want to tell her just have fun, but she's like thinking about all these things like the world is in crisis. And then Cameron and his wife are the people who let's live it up.
Yep.
The world isn't a bad place. Everything's fine. We're in this position for a reason. We deserve to be here. And it was interesting seeing those two get along. On top of that, or interact. On top of that, Harper, the thing that drove me crazy about her and eventually bit her in the ass was like her ability to say there is so much wrong with these other people.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like we don't do any of that stuff.
Right.
And then her relationship basically imploded as the season moved forward.
No doubt.
Yeah.
She I just as a whole, like she was very skeptical of their relationship while almost kind of needed to look herself in the mirror a little bit too, throughout the season.
So what happens with them as the season moves forward, basically we find out that Carmen is a player and he is regularly cheating on Daphne.
Oh yeah.
And he kind of tries to pull Eric in, and at one point they have the hookers in the room, with them, which are
Lucia and Mia.
Oh yeah, the local hookers of Sicily. More
so Lucia than Mia.
Yes, and we'll talk more about them later. But as the season moves forward, Cameron tries to pull Eric in, and
basically, Cameron is, has had success his whole life.
Yes.
Ethan now is he's the flag bearer. He's the money earner now. He's making more money.
Yep.
And Ethan is thinking this whole time, Cameron's going to try to take advantage of me. He wants my money.
Yeah.
He brought us on this vacation because he wants something from us.
Yeah.
And like, what is it? And that's the first few episodes. And you kind of figure out throughout the episode that, like, do we think Cameron actually has money, or is he like living off a credit card and it's going to blow up in his face?
He's like a financial guy. So he was trying to get him to invest with him. Is what he was trying to get money out of him. And then towards the end, you find more unravels, and you find out that Daphne is kind of the same way, where she's out there playing, and they're basically like swingers. Because she knows that he's cheating on her, and she's just like, okay, you know what, it's fine, and she almost, there's a couple glimpses of her feeling like trapped. Like she says, I know how much money it's a situation where I know he makes a lot of money, and I can't really go anywhere. If I want to live this life, I'm stuck with him.
Yeah, she's basically saying, hey, I know the game he's playing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play it right back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play the victim card.
Yeah.
I'm going to basically say, screw him.
Yeah.
Literally, and go do what I want. So,
yeah. And there's also a time where Ethan accuses Cameron of trying to get with his wife, Harper. So
now, I got to ask you right now too, like, what do you think? Like, they basically she admitted Harper to, like, they went back up to the room and like kissed, and that was it. They had the adjoining hotel room. What do you think happened there? Do you think it went more than that, or do you think she's telling the truth?
So it goes back to what Daphne says at the end when she talks to Ethan on the chair. So at the very end, Ethan and Daphne are talking, and Ethan goes to Daphne and says, hey, listen, Cameron, I think, cheated on you, and I think he was hooking up with Harper, my wife. And she says, you know what? There are some things in a relationship that you're not going to know, and I say it's okay to not know about it.
Yeah,
and they don't have to know about it.
She's like, a little mystery is sexy, even sometimes.
and then so it's definitely implied by the directors that, like, you make, what do you think happened? What do you think happened?
Right.
Now there are hints. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think for sure though. So after Ethan and Daphne have that discussion, Daphne takes Ethan and they go across to the island. They definitely hooked up.
They hooked up. Somehow.
Definitely.
What level? Not sure, but
definitely. But you just don't. I don't know if Cameron and Harper did.
I think Harper was almost just they got drunk. They were doing shots and stuff. And I think I don't think she would have taken it that far, but I think it was almost like, hey, I have some control. I have some power here too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to own it. So I don't know.
It's wild though to see her slide though, like talking all this game at the beginning of the season, like we're better than them, and then they almost like became them.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they became everything that they said they weren't, and that they were better than. And it was definitely interesting.
So we know, and again, Isaac said, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So we know both of these couples make it throughout the season. No one dies.
Yes.
They're through, and they show them at the airport at the end. And there's that kind of volcano erupting in the background.
Yeah.
I almost like, is that like symbolism for like like one of those marriages is going to explode. One of them's going to like maybe explode in a good way, explode in a bad way.
Well, what was interesting at the airport, they're both holding each other and they both seem genuinely happy.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you said, back to that like white privilege, wealthy thing where it's like, okay, you know, at the end of the day, they're going home. They don't have to deal with those other people. They're going back to their lives and their lives are good. And it's like just kind of, they don't imply that anything happens to the relationship other than maybe that symbolism, but
sure,
I don't know. It's definitely the way it ends is crazy.
Let me ask this. Okay, so a year from now, which couple is more likely to be broken up? Cameron and Daphne or Ethan and Harper?
Ethan and Harper.
Okay,
all day, because
you think so?
I think
I would agree.
Here's the thing with Ethan and Harper, or with Cameron and Daphne. They are like open book.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they know stuff is happening. They're just not talking about it.
Yeah.
But they still know it's happening.
Sure.
So they're not really hiding anything from each other. They're just like in an open relationship.
No doubt.
So it's kind of like, I don't want to know what you're doing, but I know you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's cool. And I think the relationship that survives is the relationship that does communicate.
That's true.
Which is what was
even
wrong.
if it's based on whatever.
Which is what was wrong about what Daphne said. I think you have, in order to have a solid relationship, you have to communicate about just about everything.
Sure.
And they, even though they try and like hide certain things, they know what's going on.
Okay.
And Harper and Ethan are like, they almost broke up multiple times throughout the show because it's like they know they don't know what's happening and they're like losing control and they're playing. Anytime you're playing games with each other, it's gonna end and it's gonna end bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and you could see him like you think he's gonna murder someone by the end of episode 6. We're going into the finale.
Yeah.
And it turns out he doesn't, but like it looked like he was going to there for a while.
In the way this show starts off too, for those that don't know, it starts off with Daphne going out into the water on this resort on the last day and finding a body, and they don't show who the body is. So this whole time the show's moving forward, you're like, okay, who's gonna die? Who's the one that dies? Which one of these characters is the one that dies? So there's a scene where Ethan goes out into the water to beat the shit out of Cameron, and he goes out into the water and they're fighting in the water like, who's gonna die? The whole time it's just like, which one's gonna get knocked out, hit their head on a rock and die in the water, but none of them do. But it's basically Ethan just freaking rocks Cameron one time, solid punch to the face, and then Cameron is such a psychopath that he just shows up at dinner that night.
Yeah,
like nothing ever.
That was the weirdest friggin' scene. There's a lot of weird scenes in this season. Yeah, but that had to be one of the weirdest
because he just shows up at dinner. He's like, "What are you guys doing? Come sit with us." It's like, dude, you tried to hook up with my wife and I punched you in the face, and now you're acting like nothing happened. Yeah.
Well, and not to mention his wife is with him, who might have just banged.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder too. Like, did Cameron get his way because he's like trying to move forward and be cool about it, like super sly about it, like I got what I want, I'm in control. You know, and it's always just a power move for him.
Yeah, I agree.
Crazy, but. Let's go next to my favorite,
the DeGrasso
family. So you got 3 generations here. The grandfather, the son to the right, his son to the right, Dominic's in the middle, Bert is to the right. And
I think Bert is the grandfather.
Oh, that's right.
Dominic is Michael Imperioli, who's Christopher on Sopranos.
Yes. And then Albie is the youngest of the youngest generation to the left there. So these 3 came to Italy to find their long lost relatives that eventually moved from Sicily to the United States. And so they come to the resort, stay at the resort, and Albie, who do you want to start with?
Well, I think you almost have to start with the dad, Dominic.
Yes,
the middle
one.
Because first of all, he already has a hooker arranged before he got to the resort.
So has a hooker arranged, and on top of that, Oh, Ryan says they had sex when Harper called Cam an idiot.
Yeah, I think that was a tell. That was
yeah.
kind of a tell.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because all doors were open now, and she just like said what she was feeling. Interesting.
Can EJ hear us? Sound fellows. EJ, can you hear us?
Hello? Hold on. Let me check. No, but that is a good point too. And Ethan actually brings that up too, that it was the tell. That was that you had sex with him.
Yeah.
So
quit being an idiot. It's like something you say to someone after, Yeah.
Can you help? Yeah.
It's okay. Okay. All right.
It's good. Okay. So with those three though, back to the DeGrassos. So the dad. So far right here. Far right. He is coming to this resort with his family, but he has already been accused by his wife of cheating on her multiple times. And all his other family members that are with him, both Albie and Bert, both know that he was caught cheating.
No doubt.
And he has like he has a addicted to sex is his issue. So
that sounds like an excuse.
Right. So he says he has a problem, but he shows up at the resort and already has Lucia and Mia lined up as hookers for him when he gets checked into his room. And like gives him his credit card and says, "Hey, if you want to buy yourself anything, you can stay in my room. You're checked into my dad's room if you need anything."
Just don't go too crazy.
Yeah, just don't go too crazy. So they eventually go back to where their family is from, and it's just all women. It's like a I think it would be like his grandmother, Bert's grandmother.
You had some sort of conspiracy theory.
I have a total conspiracy theory about that one. But so Bert basically goes, knocks on the door, introduces himself, and they say, "No, shoo, get out of here. We don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah,
get the heck out of here." And then they spend the rest of their vacation on the island after they get kicked out. But so Dominic, the guy on the right, Sopranos guy, he is hooking up with the prostitutes, and then Albie eventually. Kid on the left, his son, eventually starts.
They're Eskimo brothers.
Yeah,
father son Eskimo brothers.
Eskimo bros with his dad because he also hooks up with Mia and starts talking to Mia, and there's just this huge like hostility between father, son, and grandfather because they all and like even the grandfather's like a creep too.
By the way, I hope no one clips just this question I'm going to ask you. Which one's your favorite hooker, Mia or Lucia?
I loved Mia.
I did too. Yeah, hands down Mia.
Wait, was this Mia?
Mia's on the left, the piano player.
Lucia's on the right.
Yeah, yes.
I like Lucia.
Okay.
I'm wrong.
No, well, Lucia got more of the sex work done in this season.
She worked real hard.
She did.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Pay those bills.
No doubt.
So eventually Lucia is hooking up with the son. And it's just this whole vibe of, like we talked about, they all have like this addiction to women.
Yeah.
All of them. From the grandfather being like the pervy old guy now to the dad, like trying to build this relationship back up with his wife. And he's constantly calling home and talking to his ex-wife who doesn't want anything to do with him. Which,
by the way, if you're familiar with Laura Dern, she's the voice. She's like the scientist in Jurassic Park, the original scientist.
Okay.
Like, so apparently she's friends with Mike White, who's the director.
Okay.
So like she's just the voice. She's not actually in the show, but anyway. So little side note.
Yeah. So this whole time, it's just this family's battle with like women and like being addicted to like love and having sex with all these women. So like the dad is trying to get back with his ex-wife. But at the same time, he has hookers when he shows up. He's like, it's just a total mess. And then Albie is like the new generation, the new wave, where he's like, no, it's totally fine that she's a sex worker. I'm cool with it because, girls can do whatever they want. You know, it's her body. Do whatever you want type deal.
Honestly, I kind of think Albie's a little bitch.
He is.
He is.
He totally is. And that is why. So when Albie first showed up on the island, he had a little thing with Portia.
Yes.
But another guest on the island.
Mhm.
But she basically just wanted a bad boy.
Yeah.
And Albie is not that.
Albie's
Albie is, I'll do whatever you want. I'll take care of
Albie
you.
wants the wounded bird, I think he
Yes.
said in the show.
Yes.
And yeah.
And it comes
Not
to
what Portia's looking for.
yeah, exactly. And Portia's like, this guy is such a goober.
Yeah.
And she finds this this other guy we'll talk about later. But it just comes to this head where at the end, Bert and all of them are sitting at a table and they're like, it's our curse. It's our family curse that we are like just addicted to women of all shapes and sizes of anything. We just love women and they drive us crazy. And here's my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Here's my conspiracy theory. So those three boys, they go visit where supposedly their family came from.
Okay.
And they meet a relative or ancestor of Bert. It would be like his, I don't know if it would be his father's wife or his grandfather's wife or whoever that old lady was.
Yeah, yeah.
I totally believe that. Did you ever watch the movie Holes?
I know the book, but yeah.
So the book Holes.
Yeah.
Madame Zeroni with the curse.
It's been forever.
God's thumb and the curse.
Yeah.
I seriously think when he says our family has a curse, I seriously think there is a curse. I think that
lady looked like a witch, by the way.
Yes. I think that Bert, the grandfather, I think his dad or his grandfather actually ran away to the United States with a woman, and that started the curse. And that's why when they went to the house to visit the older relatives, she's like, get out of here, get out of here. I think that Bert is literally the love child of who his father or grandfather ran away with, and that was the wife he left.
Interesting.
In Sicily. And I think that's why she's like, I don't want anything to do with you. You're not my blood.
Okay.
You're my ex-husband's love child, and you ran away.
That's fair. That's a fair point. Can I push back a little bit on that?
What do you got?
All right. Say hypothetically, Shelby's your wife, right?
Yeah.
So hypothetically, you and Shelby are sitting at home watching White Lotus, hypothetically.
Yeah.
And some Italian family knocks on your door and all they speak is Italian.
Yeah.
But they are claiming they are your relatives.
Yeah.
You're going to think those people are like freaking lunatics and be like, get out of here.
I got a crazy story for you.
Okay. All right.
I have gone to Italy. My great grandmother came over in 1911.
Okay.
Or 1922 when she was 11.
Okay.
And she came over from like the boot of Italy, like the very point of the toe of Italy. So we knew that's where she came from. We knew the town she was from. We went and visited the town. We found relatives.
Okay.
And we called them, and we had my great grandmother call them as well. They kind of knew we were coming. The whole town knew we were coming. And like, we went and visited them, and like, we found out where my great grandma lived when she was a little girl. We like toured all this whole town. And it was definitely more welcoming, but we kind of had a connection. Yeah. You know, so that's a little different, but I still think you go to a European country, they're much more welcoming.
Yeah.
They're much more welcoming
that's a good point.
than the United States.
Oh,
it's
no
not
doubt.
They're not stranger danger. These are Americans that came to our country and they want to learn more about us. That's really cool. Let's welcome them in and eat lasagna with them. That's
cool.
But,
I'm just saying if I get a couple random dudes showing up to my front porch, I might be like, I'll hear you out, but
I think it's the whole Holes, Madame Zeroni.
Okay. I'm gonna
actual curse.
I'm gonna write that down because I have not actually seen the movie, and I've read that book probably in like 7th grade, 6th grade.
Same.
So,
but yeah, she says, "Hey, you have to come back for me and carry me up the hill." And the guy leaves. He never comes back to carry. And she says, "You're cursed forever now."
Okay.
But I literally think the family is legitimately cursed. All of them. I don't think they're ever gonna have good relationships because they're cursed.
Okay. I'm learning things as we go. All right.
So then we can move on to other characters.
I think we got to go to Tanya.
Okay.
Don't you think? I mean,
yeah, let's go to Tanya. So Tanya, the lady on the right, and her husband Greg come to the island, come to Sicily and stay at the resort. Tanya is the only character that carries over from season 1 of White Lotus.
Yes.
She was wealthy in season 1. She's still wealthy in season 2.
Technically her husband too, Greg.
Yeah.
Greg was at the end of season 1 and into season 2.
You're right. Greg was sick in season 1. He shows up at the end, hooks up with Tanya, and then I forget where they leave it with that. But at the beginning of this season, we find out that Tanya was able to help cure whatever disease or ailment he had. Yeah. And now, about 3 days in, Greg says he has to go back home. He has to leave, and he leaves. And Tanya's on her own. So she's on her own, and Tanya actually brings her assistant, Portia, with her. So that's when Portia comes into play. Yeah, I love Portia. She's very innocent and is a normal person because she's not wealthy. She just tagging along and being an assistant. And there's this weird between Tanya, Greg, and Portia at the beginning of the season. It's very strange because Portia's trying to like tag along, but Greg doesn't want her here and says, "Hey, have her go away. I don't want to even see her," which was really strange. Yeah. So then Greg leaves, and it's just Tanya and Portia hanging out. Where's it go from there?
So she gets involved. It goes almost to that beach club area.
Yes.
And then somehow she gets she gets swooned by like these group of gay guys, right?
The rich gays.
Yeah, the rich gays.
She calls them the rich gays.
And so Greg basically we kind of leave it off with him saying like she's clueless. Like he's on the phone outside somewhere. Yeah. And like she's clueless. She doesn't know what's going on. And then at the end of the phone call, he says, "I love you." Yeah. So that kind of is like, does that mean he's got like this separate family?
Yeah.
Is he talking to someone that might like be setting her up, or is that a mistress, or what? We don't know. It's kind of left ambiguous.
I totally forgot about that. He is on the phone with a lady and says, "I love you." So
is it a lady though?
Yeah, you don't. Oh, that's right. Is it a
lady? Is it a woman?
Yes, we find out later. That's right.
It could be a woman. It could be Quentin.
Yeah,
but we don't know.
So then we have actually, did I upload it? We do have Quentin. So this is the leader of the rich gays, and
he is the alpha gay.
He is the alpha gay. So Tanya and Portia get wrapped up with these rich gays, and they take them all over to all the fanciest places in Italy. They're driving around on yachts, and Quentin has a nephew. What was his name? Jack?
Yeah, Jack.
So that is Jack.
I like how you quote.
Yeah, nephew, Jack, and they hit it off. Portia and Jack hit it off because Portia was looking for the bad boy. She found the bad boy.
He was the bad boy,
and Tanya basically is going to all these different things. What she goes to, oh my god, where they're singing, the opera house.
Yeah,
they go to the opera house. They're going on
Madame
yacht
Butterfly.
Rides.
Yep.
Yeah, all these different crazy things and having all kinds of fun. And it almost seems too good to be true, and I think it is. So as it progresses, you find out that they are some dangerous people. I don't know if do they say it's like the mob? Like,
well, they say they don't use that word, the mafia, in Italy.
Yeah.
But it's basically implied that they're in with some bad folks.
Yeah.
No matter however you interpret that.
So it turns out that it is nothing but a setup. Greg is, we find this out at the very, very end. Greg has, I'm assuming, told them, "Hey, Tanya has a lot of money. You take her out. You solve my problems if you get rid of her."
There's a prenup, so that's why.
Because there's a prenup, and we'll pay you off. You'll get some money. I'll get some money, and I won't have to live with this lady anymore. We find out too that Portia's boy Jack is also has been like paid to take care of her, to like get her away from the situation.
He's the distraction.
He's the distraction. He is also the power bottom for Quentin. He is absolutely poop pumping Quentin.
Is there a better line in this season than "Are you fucking your uncle?" because
in the taxi.
And he like, you know, that's where that relationship ends.
Jack
right
was
there.
like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, my uncle. What do you mean he's not my uncle? And she's like, so you have sex with your uncle? And then he basically gigs up. And so from there, he takes Portia away.
Mm-hmm.
They're on like the other side of the island or something, away from what's happening. And Tanya is on a yacht at night with Quentin and some more of the rich gays. And she is in like a back room, and she finds a picture that looks like a younger Greg.
Yes.
Her husband.
In a cowboy hat.
In a cowboy hat. And they don't even show a picture of him. I wanted to see the picture of him.
Yeah.
But so she says, wow, this looks like Greg. And then she starts to put the pieces together. She finds a gun and rope and duct tape in a bag. She puts all the pieces together, realizes that Greg's trying to take her out. And she grabs the gun out of the bag and just starts firing. I can't stand her. She makes me so mad. Stifler's mom drives me crazy. It's so I just cannot stand it.
Okay, so apparently I've just learned a little bit about her throughout this season. So apparently her and Mike White, the director, are like buddy.
Okay.
But apparently she is like an icon in the gay community. You know how there's sometimes like I'm trying to think
like the lady in Devil Wears Prada.
Stuff, someone like that, or Judy Garland, or whatever her name is. So it's like she is an icon for them. So that's why she's kind of been casted in this role, where she's like that dumb, like kind of clueless character, but they put her up on a pedestal.
And the whole time, like, so she on the yacht, she takes this gun and she's basically knocking down doors and shooting all the rich gays, making her way to the back of the boat, and it's like, okay, are you going to have the, don't underestimate the dumb person type of like finish to the story? I was like, okay, they underestimated her this whole time. She's going to make it. Kills everybody on the boat. Everybody who wasn't shot jumps off.
Yeah.
And then she is trying to get to the dinghy that's next to the boat to ride into shore. And she doesn't jump off the side of the boat into the water. She doesn't take the ladder off of the back of the yacht. She just tries to jump like 10 feet down to the dinghy and bashes her face off the side of the boat and dies. So she is the one that they find in the water at the end of the story. It really pissed me off, but she was the one who died. Yeah. So, my gosh.
It was a fitting way for her to go out.
Goes out like an idiot after,
and I mean, I've been on big boats. I've never been on a yacht.
Yeah.
But I would imagine as someone with a lot of means, they say she's in the billions in this show. You would have known, like you said, there's a freaking ladder on the back.
There's a ladder. There's usually like a platform too that you can swim off the back of it.
Exactly.
Too. Oh my God.
I guess she just murdered or shot three people at least. So maybe she's a little,
or you have a gun, you're on a yacht, nobody's coming back. Maybe stay till the stay till the morning. Maybe you can like call someone in.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
there's got to be a CB or something.
Yeah,
on there.
something.
Yeah, great point.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't even think about that.
So exhausting.
Oh, and by the way, too, after she shoots Quentin and he's like gushing blood, she's like, she still wants to know, is Greg cheating on me? She's not like, why are you trying to kill me? Is he cheating on me? Like, so that was her big question.
Oh my God.
So,
well, this was Jack. So then with Portia and Jack, so after she confronts him and says, hey, you're screwing your uncle. And he's like, no, it's not my uncle. I'm wrapped up with some bad people. Basically, I'm dropping you off at the airport. He's like, just go home. Don't go back to the resort. Go to the airport right away. You do not want to get wrapped up with these people like I am.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like I'm screwed. My life isn't good. I'm screwed.
Kind of almost saves her.
Yeah. And get the hell out of here. You don't want to be involved in this.
Yeah.
And then she just goes to the airport and goes home. And she's like stressed at the airport the next day. But I'm trying to think who else. So Lucia and Mia. Mia is battling with Valentina and Giuseppe to get the piano spot at the at the restaurant within the resort. And then Lucia is, like we said, the on the right is the island hooker. And she's like a bad influence on Mia.
Yeah.
What else? Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say that one of my favorite lines also of this season is when Mia finally locks down that piano job after like getting in good with Valentina. Bert, she goes up and hugs Bert because Bert was like clapping for her and stuff, and he basically went back to his son and his grandson and was like, I kind of got an erection from that hug. And you gotta love that shit. It's
just
so
the
good.
whole, all the boys are they're all love their women. But so Mia locks down the piano spot. Lucia,
I think we got to get into her.
Yeah.
And like this theories about what her game is.
So throughout this story, she hooks up with Cameron and Ethan, or mostly just Cameron, and is also hooking up with Albie. And the question is that arises.
Don't forget about the dad too.
And the dad.
Yeah.
So the question that arises at the end is, she kind of takes Albie and gets $50K out of him, from him and the dad, and says does she say she's going to come to America and live in Las Vegas without?
She wants
Albie?
Like her dream is to move to LA.
Yeah.
Like that's her dream.
She says that to Albie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could kind of see the wheels turning throughout the season of what's her game.
Yeah.
Is she like in this Alessio guy that's like, is that her
she
pimp?
Says her pimp.
Yeah. Which it's not. We find out he's just like a friend or whatever. And we find out this is like a long play, a long con.
So it was proven that it was all just a long con to make him feel bad for her and then get $50K.
Yeah.
When did they say that he's the friend? He's a friend.
Well, they don't, but at the very beginning, episode 1, she's with him and she's, just friendly and whatever. In the middle, you kind of see him. He's kind of playing this like intimidating role. Yeah, he's like
in the
seem
car.
to be stalking them.
Yeah,
and then in that like market where they're eating ice cream and stuff. Yeah, but then at the end, at the very last scene, it's Mia and Lucia. Yeah, and they're walking, and this is after she gets the money wired to her bank account. Yeah, and they're like skipping, and then they just wave to Alessio. Hey, Alessio, you know, like they're buddy, like they're brother, sister, like they're, cousins or something.
Walk down the street. So it was all just a
That's my opinion.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. So.
Yeah. And she's not going to LA. She's staying there. She's staying right where she is. Cause I mean, $50K off of 1 week. One vacationer that's out on the island for a week. $50K a week's pretty good gig. If you can get $50K at it. Each week.
Yeah, she's doing all right.
Yeah.
And she wants to open up some sort of business. I think that's her kind of dream because but it's like, I guess, she looks good. It's like, wow, you got to do it while you can, I guess.
But you don't know if any of it's actually what she wants to do or she's just telling people what they want to hear so that she gets more money.
That's,
you know what I mean?
That's
because
a great point.
Always Albie was like, oh, I want to help somebody because she's like an injured bird. So she plays the injured bird. I have this pimp. I don't want saved, but he's like, oh, we got to save her.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's like just telling people what they want to hear and playing accordingly, so.
And we go right back to white privilege again. It's like this family has so much money. Yeah. The DeGrasso family that $50,000 to that dad is like a drop in the bucket. Yeah, Albie went to Stanford. That's $50,000 a year right there. So it's like they're not worried about money. It's more of a game for them. And Albie kind of plays his dad against to get the money because he's like, hey, and by the way, obviously the dad knows Albie's hooking up with her, but does Albie know the dad was messing around with her?
I don't think they ever let Albie know. And I think Albie's too like innocent to even realize, you know what I mean? Yeah. Too innocent for his own good to even realize that she could have been, hooking up with other guests all along or why she was even there. And it's just, and the other thing too is like back to Harper and Harper just makes me so mad because of all the stuff she was saying, like the we're better than thou type of mentality.
Yeah.
Everybody who's there, is kind of is not the good person that they like. She's not the good person that she claims to be, and none of those extremely wealthy people are. And there's so many people with so much worse situations than them.
Oh my gosh,
it just drives me crazy.
So you almost wonder if these people are who they are in real life. Like, I mean, the actors are acting that part on vacation, but when they go back to their real everyday lives, are they those same people? Or is this just a role they're playing on vacation? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think when we all go on vacation, everybody's usually a little happier, a little in a better mood. You might play up certain roles or whatever. So I don't know.
I think Cameron Cameron. I think that dude
he is who he is.
Slinging. I think he is out there getting it. Throwing himself around.
Okay.
And so same with Daphne.
Yeah. Well, so that leads to this question. There was a theory out there, and I didn't even think about this, but apparently she's talking to Harper.
Yeah.
And she's like, you just gotta do what you gotta do to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
And she goes, here's my trainer that basically I've been banging. And then she shows, and it's a picture of her kids. And the one kid, she describes the trainer as having blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yes.
And the one kid has blonde hair, blue eyes.
I brought that up to Shelby too.
And I mean, neither of them have blonde hair, blue eyes. I mean, she's more of like a redhead, I would guess. Yeah. And he's definitely dark hair.
Yeah.
So is that trainer's kid?
Yeah, I totally caught that. And I brought it up to Shelby and I was like, yeah, do what makes you happy. And she's like, has these kids with this other guy. It's like just totally another like life.
Yeah. Because do you remember the scene? He's like flossing his teeth and
pissed that he has to go talk to the kids. Yeah, it doesn't even like the kids.
And then he like turns it on for a second.
And at first you're like, oh my God, this guy's a piece of shit dad. But then you're like, oh my God, they're not even his kids.
Yeah.
That's so true. Totally forgot about that dad in the picture of the kids. Too.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
And then who else was there? There was the hotel director too. They do a lot of her. She was probably the most boring.
Valentina, and Rocco, and what's the other girl's name? Isabella. That was kind of she's cute. Yeah. Isabella's super cute.
Yeah. But Valentina is she's a lesbian, and she's like.
But she doesn't quite know it yet.
Yeah, such a goody two shoes.
Yeah,
that she is like almost nervous of people finding out and like her being exposed because she's like this manager and has this big position and she has all this power and has never let her hair down once in her life. And then Mia actually helps her out, hooks up with her for the first time, and then Valentina kind of falls in love with her off of that.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think what else happens with Valentina. I mean,
she basically, she is in love with Isabella.
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey, you want to go out for dinner? It's my birthday, blah, blah, blah.
That's Isabella.
And then Isabella's like, oh, well, me and Rocco are engaged. And she had no idea. And then that like devastates her.
And
then
Isabella
Mia
wasn't picking it up either.
No.
Isabella didn't realize that she was crushing on her.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then Mia recognized what happened and is like took her under her wing and was like, hey girl, let your hair
She's
down.
Like, you help me help you.
Yes.
And vice you scratch
I'll
my
hook
back.
up with you if you let me play piano at your bar.
Exactly.
So then that's exactly what happens. And Valentina lets her hair down and kind of is able to relax and have some fun for the first time ever. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in my notes here. But that's how it ends. So Tanya is the body. Tanya was the one in the water at the very end, and the season ends with them in the airport and everybody's heading home.
Portia and Albie exchange numbers.
But Portia like is freaking out because she's leaving this whole situation and she knows that her boss is basically dead.
That's a good question. Is she at all culpable in this? Like, she's not on the hook for legal trouble, but I mean, she basically went there with her boss.
Yeah.
The boss is now murdered. Now she's going back. Does that make her look like a suspect?
So the thing is, like I said, she is one of the most relatable and normal people because she's not extremely wealthy. So she is shell shocked from what happened, but she does what anybody else would do. It's like this rich kid who's being paid by the mafia or whatever it is told me to just go home or else I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm listening to him. I'm going home.
Right.
And like, she's just freaking out and at the end there, but exchanges numbers with Albie and just
we'll
ends
see
on
what
that
happens.
note. Just ends on that note. But Harper, Ethan, Cameron, and Daphne are all happy and cuddly heading home. Like we said, Mia and Lucia are walking off into the sunset, having pulled off they had like the best payout out of anybody in the season for sure.
So to kind of juxtapose, big word there.
Yeah.
The first season with the second season. The first season was basically the rich get richer.
Yes.
This season, though, it's kind of like the working class get one over on the rich.
Yes.
If you think about it, because it's like the hookers get their money, Mia gets the piano job.
Yeah.
Like Portia gets killed, or not Portia, excuse me.
Yeah.
Tanya gets killed.
But Portia is kind of like the working class person who's like, screw this rich lady. Like, I'm going home to my normal life. Like,
exactly.
All these people are screwed up.
Right.
So I'm just getting the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surviving like the working class person should.
Exactly. Exactly.
So no, that is very true. How good was the ending of the first season though, when the guy shit in the freaking suitcase and then gets stabbed in the stomach?
The hotel manager, so good,
dude. That
so
guy
good.
was awesome.
He
the
was.
The Aussie guy.
Yeah.
He was
some
great.
really good casting in both seasons.
Yeah,
some great characters.
So where do you think they're going to go next? Do you think they're going to connect any of the seasons in the next?
Well, I have heard location speculation.
Okay,
I've heard it's Asia.
Oh, okay.
I've heard it's Asia somewhere. They've obviously done Hawaii. What'd they do? Italy.
Yeah. Now
somewhere in Asia. So what could that be? That could be
like Japan.
Yeah. Singapore, something like that.
Yeah. Vietnam.
Yeah.
It could
like
be some fancy.
like one of the cool islands.
My parents took a cruise in Vietnam and they said it was pretty bougie.
Really?
So that's my bet.
Okay.
I'm betting Vietnam.
Okay.
Do you think they're going to bring any characters over?
That's a great question because
bring back Sydney Sweeney, baby. That's my girl. I love her.
So I was thinking about this. The only character you had mentioned, Tanya, was the only main character that was in season 1 and season 2.
Yeah.
Technically, Greg is still alive. He was in season 1, season 2.
And does he get the money?
Could he be in season 3 and he's rich and loaded too?
Yeah. Will he get the money? That's the question.
That's a theory I have, that he could be the string theory in this all. But but could they do it like, well, one character is connected to season 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Maybe the next time it's season 2 and 3. So it could be Albie and Portia. It could be whoever. So I don't know.
Interesting.
So that's a good one.
Yeah. Who are they going to bring over would be the question.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who is your MVP of this season? Who's like they won the season for you? Like whether, and you can interpret that any way you want. Like, who did you maybe like the most at the end of this season or thought they did the best job?
Can I answer who got screwed the most?
Yeah.
I would say other than Tanya for straight up dying.
Yeah.
My boy, honorable mention goes out to my boy Giuseppe for hooking up with a hooker.
Yeah. Which, by the way, had to take some Viagra.
Lucia hooking up with a hooker. Number one L he took was he couldn't get it off. So he asks her some Viagra. She runs to try and get him some Viagra.
It's like,
doesn't get Viagra. It's some kind of other drug.
Yeah.
Has a heart attack.
Yeah.
Massive heart attack. Almost dies on the floor. Then comes back to the hotel for his job as the piano guy. And the hotel manager, Valentina, tells him, sorry, you're no longer the piano guy.
Takes the L.
Because takes another L because Valentina is hooking up with Mia, who's the new piano player, and that was her goal the whole time. So she got the piano job, and he's just like, I'm suing. See you guys later. Poor Giuseppe just totally lost.
So he's your LVP. He's your least valuable player in this season.
He lost hard. So winner is either Lucia for getting the money and getting the hell out of there and taking advantage of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, multiple people that she was hooking up with.
Yeah.
And we found out that she doesn't even have doesn't that kid wasn't a pimp that she has to get money to.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's all just money in her pocket from what they show us. And then she gets that $50K too.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're golden. Man.
Yeah,
golden.
they made a ton of money.
And then I guess, yeah, probably Lucia, if not, oh my God, Portia, for just not having anything really impact her. Just a crazy experience.
I agree.
Go home.
I agree. I'm gonna go. I think my MVP has to be Portia, because I had no idea who this girl was before. I've never seen her in anything else.
Yeah.
And like, I think just her as an actress,
she good.
Became my favorite character on the show. Like you had said, she's extremely relatable.
Yes.
She seems like a great time.
Yeah.
But she's like down to earth, and like you just relate to her too a lot.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. And she's very good at like, there are so many situations where she's just like, what is going on? Like, like trying to piece everything together. And she just does such a good job. Very good job from that actor, you know? Other than that, how'd you feel about Aubrey Plaza overall?
You know what? I've only seen her in Parks and Rec. Yeah, I think that's what she was in. And she's like kind of like adorable with resting bitch face all the time.
She is so good at playing that resting bitch face, absolutely miserable person.
Yeah.
And she is in real life such a weirdo.
Is she?
She is very weird person.
She has such a dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
But I can almost kind of weirdly relate to that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like her a lot.
Did you know in Parks and Rec they based her off of a cat, and
I've never seen the whole thing. I've seen shows.
You know, her and Chris Pratt end up getting together, but they based Chris Pratt off of a personality off of a dog, and her personality off of a cat.
That's probably accurate.
It's totally accurate.
Yeah.
And like everything Chris Pratt does, he brings joy to so many people's lives in that show, and he's like just. Everything he does, he's good at.
Yeah.
And he's not even trying. He's just an absolute mess, but everything he does, he's good at. And she's just grumpy and like miserable the whole time.
And like dogs are real likable, personable. And like cats are kind of like, I want to be on my own. Leave me alone. Yep. I like that.
So good.
That's good.
All
right, here. I got another good question for you. Here, go ahead. And if you want to take
Pig quote of the season. Which one was that?
So she's getting on that. What are those little scooters called? Vespas.
She's
like getting on the Vespa. Yeah. And she asked Valentina to take a picture of her and Greg. And she's like, don't I look like some Italian actress? And she's like, oh yeah, like Peppa Pig. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. That's great.
What in the Dallas soap opera is going on here? Jay. Ryan says, take the ladder, Tanya. Is that the mom from American Pie? Yes, that is
Stifler's mom.
Yeah,
Jennifer Coolidge, I think is her name.
Oh, Ryan agrees with me. Great theory. The old woman said, "We don't need any men here." I'm telling you, stinking family curse, man. His grandfather left that lady and ran to America with another lady.
Probably not wrong.
I'm telling you.
And how about at the airport when all three of them? There's that like really good Italian chick walking by.
Yeah, and they all cursed, man. They all got it. They're all screwed.
But as men, can't we all kind of relate to that too a little bit?
You can look, but you can't touch.
Exactly. That's fair. I like that. That's fair. That's fair. All right. Can I ask one more here?
Go ahead. What do you got?
If you could go on vacation, you got to take one female from the show and one male from the show. Who are you taking on vacation with you? You get 3 tickets. You guys can go anywhere in the world, but you got to take one female, one male. Who are you taking?
That is tough because, I mean, you're getting into trouble no matter who you bring.
100%.
Okay. I'm bringing Portia.
Okay.
Because she's chill.
Yeah.
Men.
This is a tough one.
Bringing from the guys? I am bringing a newly single Ethan.
Okay.
I'm bringing a newly single Ethan with me.
Okay.
He's going to fund the whole vacation. And he seemed pretty cool. I mean, he seemed normal.
Yeah.
It's just the people he was with drove him to be insane.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
like he's going to return home, probably break up with Harper and be relatively normal. I feel like I don't feel like he's going to, once he goes back to everyday life, turn into this monster that Cameron is.
That's good.
I think his morals and ethics are still there.
Yeah, he basically. How about when she finds the condom wrapper and she thinks it's him, and he's like, well, I thought you'd be happy that I didn't lie to you. You know, it's like, well, you didn't lie, but you didn't tell her anything either. So
here's the thing, like, knowing myself, and I'm comparing it. Well, what if, Isaac, you were hanging out with the guy at a resort and he brought 2 hookers back to you? What would you do? The second Shelby walks through the door, I'm like, you're not going to believe what happened. You're not going to believe what happened. Like, how does he not tell her? Like, I trust my wife with everything.
Yeah. The only thing I will say to that is he was pretty messed up. He was puking, and he was like, were they on Molly?
He did kiss that girl.
He did.
Yeah.
But it's like, how screwed up was he? How messed up was he? That how much does he even remember? Because it was almost like he forgot what happened. So I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong.
And it's
either,
also
so.
like always goes back to like that lust vibe that the show carries. Because at the same time he's smoking his joint, sitting on, and he just keeps peering back like a creep, looking at them hooking up, and he's like watching them hook up as he's smoking.
It was a little weird.
It was very weird.
But
it's like just this whole theme of lust, and I think there was some conspiracy too about the statue, that's in their room that fell over and broke. They're saying that guarantees that she did in fact hook up with Cameron, because that guy who the sculpture is of cheated on his wife over and over all the time. Was, like, constantly
they told
cheating.
that story at the beginning, kind of.
And he got his head chopped off. And that's a sign that their relationship is basically over and destroyed, and it did happen.
They showed those statues, the crashing waves. And what else? The volcano. Like to equivalent of about probably 20 minutes this whole season.
And crazier stuff was happening. Like the volcano exploded like halfway through the season, and shit was starting to hit the fan. And like they play this music, like this weird, like
it's like tribal almost.
It's like tribal almost, but like very upbeat, and it's not like smooth. It's like very rigid, and it just gets you like anxious, And while in the intro too, they're playing different pictures of like naked people and like people hooking up.
Weird.
And it's just carries on that theme of just a lustful season of like sex and love and relationships, and how it screws people up.
A lot of sex in this season.
Yes, a lot.
All right, I'm gonna tell you my characters I'm taking on vacation, just because I think this would be an interesting. I think this would be a fun trip with this trio. And I think I'd get along well with all 3 of them. I'm taking Daphne. And I'm taking Bert, the grandfather. Because I think they both don't give a shit. They tell it like it is, and you're going to have fun with all 3 of them. So
for sure.
That's who I'm taking.
Bert is just like...
Except for the farting in the room. You can't share a room with him.
When he's farting in the room. And he's like awkwardly starts up conversations. Like the awkward, pervy grandfather. With everyone. It's like... I've been in that situation with my dad, not being like super pervy like him, but like talking to the girl. It's like, dude, just stop and order your freaking food.
It's so cringy. But they get a pass though, because they're like the cute old grandfather. You know what I mean? It's like, unless they take it to another level.
And my dad kind of looks like Bert too.
I think that guy's name's F. Murray Abraham. He's gonna get some awards, I think, for this season. He was good.
Daphne,
he was good.
I love that what Daphne said too. Like at the end, before they go to the island, and they left it on such an open note. Like, you don't need to know everything. It's kind of like it's best that some things aren't known, and they just go over and they leave it totally open for you to interpret. I love that. Very poetic.
Very much so.
So, but anything else?
No, I don't think. I think that was good. I'm excited to see what they do in season 3. But this is definitely a show that it makes you think a little bit. But I think like you can relate to it, I can relate to it, and that's why we like it. So.
It's relatable, and it's fun watching a bunch of rich people blow up their lives.
It really is.
So and do ridiculous things. But thank you everybody for watching. If you want Justin and I to do another one of these, reach out to us, message us, and tell us what show you want us to watch, and maybe we'll do another one. Who knows? On top of that, Thursday, the MLO Bros has on the Bocce Bros are coming on. We're gonna have some drinks, and we got like a super secret special Christmas giveaway we're gonna do. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Also, check out the 330 Sports Show. I tagged them in the original post Go check them out. Justin does a great job over there, down there at Youngstown Studio. Does Joe like sit in the room when you do those or no?
He's usually doing other stuff in the back, but sometimes he'll sit with me, me and you, like half the time, and other times he's in the back. He's producing all this other stuff.
Oh, really? So you're
has like 15 things.
You're totally operating like by yourself now.
Almost exclusively. I have a lot of guests on. But if I don't have a guest on, it's usually me and the mic. But I try to keep it interesting.
I have
I don't get as controversial as you guys.
Yeah, I know. We're pretty bad. Do you ever have a guest on where you're like, oh my gosh, I want this to end right now. It's so boring. I did not do enough research to get this guest.
I'm not going to say a name, but my very first year I was doing it. I'm in my third year doing the I started right about same as you guys. I got one on there that was answering one word at a time. But I will say, we had alcohol on the table. So that person loosened up. Yes. And I learned too. I'm like, I'm going to go deeper with my questioning. And I'm usually very prepared. But I think with that one, I scrapped it. And I just again, I'm not saying names. I'm not going to say any hints. But we went deep and I loosened them up. Luckily, because I mean, if someone's giving you yes, no, why are you coming on a podcast?
The most interesting interview you've had.
Oh, that's a great question.
And I've had, wow, that was so much fun. I learned a lot, or I thought that was so cool. That was so different. That was something I would have never done unless I was
so many local people on, but I've had probably 7 different people from out of state. Come on. But I have to say, 2. Can I do 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One is sports and one's not sports.
Okay.
So one, she won an Olympic gold medal in swimming. She grew up in Camel, Ohio. And she went to the University of Virginia and won a Olympic gold medal in 1996. She's not Greek.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the few people from Camel.
Puerto Rican?
She's not.
Camels.
But she's taller.
Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Oh, that's the bridge. Yeah, they like
bridge
paint
painters.
Bridge. Yeah.
They do.
That's all the Greeks.
All the Greeks paint bridges.
Yes. Now we're just getting stereotypical.
Okay.
Who can we make mad today?
The population of Camel? There are a lot of Greeks in Camel.
Yes.
There were. I think
that's true.
Moving it over the South Range.
Yeah. No. We're actually stereotyping if we're not saying it's the Greek population, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody else is in the minority.
Give me the population breakdown before I get accused of being stereotypical and racist. I want the breakdown of the Camel demographic.
And with all due respect to Jim Tressel, Kelly Pavlik, all these great sports people I've had on too. I had a Playboy Playmate of the month on.
I remember that.
And she's actually become a friend. Jen Archuleta. I graduated from Boardman with her cousin, Jessie. She now lives in Columbus, but Jen lives out on the West Coast now. And her husband actually does, I think he did the he's done several Browns games this year, but Adam Archuleta. He's a CBS commentator, but her and I have talked several times, and she's been on the show, and she's a fun interview. And she told me one of my favorite stories is she told me how she was discovered by Hugh Hefner.
Wow.
And I'll keep this to a 15-second story, but basically she was invited to a Playboy Mansion. She was doing makeup and stuff for a lot of the other girls.
Okay.
And she was told it was a party to come dressed.
Dressed to impress.
So apparently everyone else was in normal clothes. She showed up in lingerie, walked down the steps, and that's how she was discovered by Hugh Hefner.
Wow.
He invited her over the table, and she became a Playboy Playmate after that. So
wow,
that's a pretty cool story.
It's interesting. I remember when you had her on because Luke messaged me.
Youngstown ties. So
you had her on, and Luke sends me, "Hey, look who was on Justin's show," and it's a picture of her sitting in the studio seat. So it's always 2 pictures. It's the first one is her sitting in the studio seat, and then followed up by the Playboy pictures of her from back in the day. So it's like, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And then it's it's me. No one wants to look at this face. They want to look at her. So
yeah.
You guys have had some great people on.
The most fun I had, honestly, we had, like you said, I had great people on. One of the most interesting guests we had on was they were like 19, 20, probably 20s, but they were rappers from East Liverpool. And they were having this big event, and they were like, "Hey, can we come on your show?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So I sat around with these like 5 or 6 artists that were rappers from East Liverpool, and we all drank, and they were all like smoking in the studio over here. And it was just such an awesome experience.
The best part of doing this is you meet so many interesting people.
So many interesting people, and you get to know so many really, really cool people, and you have like you do have connections.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, and I mean, I have a much smaller base than you guys, but it's so cool to see how everybody can kind of work together.
Exactly.
And stuff
like, hey, I need something's wrong with my computer. I call Joe immediately.
Yeah,
Joe, what's wrong with my computer? What can I do here? Or like, I need like government officials. We know the mayor of Camel. We know the mayor of Canfield. We know the mayor of Poland. We know the mayor of Struthers. Like it's just cool. You meet all these different people, and love it.
I want to hear what's going on with the South Range thing. You guys keep me updated.
We will.
It's very interesting.
That's a good one. I told Luke if he
no names, please.
No, if he was in town, if Luke was in town, we would definitely do an MLO Bros talk back and talk about it, because I'm not as gung ho into. At the end of the day, he might not be the best coach, and you have to understand that like it's very hard for kids to challenge a coach.
Oh my god!
But at the same time, the kids are soft. Like it's different than it was, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta be able to get screamed at and realize you're making mistakes. But then at the same time, I think he might not be the greatest coach. So.
I will just say this as a previous coach, and I don't know any of the players, any of the coaches in that situation, so I will stay away from that.
Yeah.
But I will say 1 year I was criticized for being both too hard and too soft.
Oh my god.
So you're going to get that in the coaching profession. It happens. You're not going to make everybody happy, and at the end of the day, you got to do
that. Doesn't even sound like the kids though. That sounds like a parent thing, because parents suck.
And I will, and again, I'm going to throw out a generic percentage. 80 to 90% of parents are wonderful people. Yeah. Wonderful. And it's just like anything else. It's the loudest minority of the population
that make themselves known,
that ruin it for
everybody,
the kids, the players, the parents, whatever.
Absolutely.
So it's whatever.
Absolutely.
Sorry, rabbit hole with that one.
No, you're good. You're totally good. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Like I said, we'll be back Thursday. When's your next show?
I am doing some recorded ones. I'm going to do an Ohio State, Georgia preview for the Sugar Bowl National Championship semifinal. And I have a Christmas one coming out sometime. I'm not sure when yet, but it'll be out. I'll put it out on the 330 Sports Show.
So check him out there on Facebook and all the social networks. And then also check out, like I said at the beginning, check out our sponsors down below. And also MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. We are loan officers. So if you need a home loan, call us. We'll take care of you on your next home purchase or refinance. We'd love to help you out. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.